Alright, I'm going to cruise through this beginning part here because you've already seen me tack up Dakota. It's just me the same thing. She's not tied, she just has this rope up over the panel. As you can see here, it's just looped, like it's just laid over, it's not tied. So just going to cruise through this, just doing the same things. I'm going to do this for probably at least a few more times before I'm sure that she's solid with me tacking her up and she's just next to me without the protected conduct of the fence. I just want to make sure that that she's okay with that before I do that. So I'm just asking her to side pass here. She's getting a little stuck. There she goes. And I'm using my whip here because she has a little bit of the cue, but she's not super solid on it. So that's what we're working on. I do my cue with my hand, and then I back it up with asking her to step over with the whip. So that's my process. It's just sped up here. You've seen it in other videos, but we're working on that. I'm just asking her to step over. It's just a little bit more of like work with the saddle because the saddle is just sitting on her back. So then I can put the girth on. Then I ask her to go back over the other side, line her up, and work on my side pass because I'm not done yet. There we go. And then I can bring her back around to the other side and I can tighten the girth. So like this might look like a lot of work for maybe not a lot of reward for some people, and that's totally fine. But for me, I like to have the protected contact. Um, Changing things now, I would do it at liberty and let her choose if she wants to leave. And if you want to see that, you can go look at Atlas and Caster's videos, both my Mustangs. That's what I did with them. And you can see that whole process specifically with Caster because Atlas is still working on that. But that's the one thing I would change. I do like having the horse walk around with just the saddle on for a while or like just the pad on if you're even at a more beginner stage than that because that's what Atlas is working on now because he was very, very fearful of having things on his back. So we're just building it up from there. Now with this girthing, I'm just going through very systematically, doing up a hole, up another hole, up one billet, up the next billet, and rewarding her the whole entire time. I'm going to do that for much longer than I do the protective contact with the panel because I want her to have a really good association with that girth. Even when we're outside of protected contact, I'm still going to do that with the girth. Now I'm just desensitizing to that stirrup moving around just to make sure she's going to be cool with that. Just so she makes sure, because I'm going to have her move a bit more with the saddle here. So now I'm asking her to move up with my lead rope here. In the last video, she just took like 1 or 2 steps. Now she's going to take a couple more steps, and I'm just going to reward her every time she moves. The backup might feel different for her here. Like I'm just kind of asking her to yield her hindquarters and step over. That looks nice because I want all of that beginning stuff to happen without me in the pen. So she steps forward, she steps backwards, she yields her hindquarters. Just in case that saddle feels real weird to her, I want to make sure that she's over there, I'm in here, the saddle's on tight enough that it'll stay on and it'll be okay. So that's pretty much my most important part of this process. But as far as the girthing goes, I always take my time. I always do it just so it's just enough to where it would stay on, and then from there I'll do it hole by hole, and then over time I'll just kind of phase out as like the amount of rewards that I give, but I still do give one. So my finished product for this would be tighten up the girth slowly as I'm grooming and getting to my work area, and then at the very end I'll give the horse a cookie, or at whatever point of the process that I need to do that, depending on the horse. But that's kind of my process. Again, here I'm doing some desensitizing on this other side here, and she's looking pretty good. I'm just making sure that saddle's nice and tight because I want her to do a little bit more movement. She's only had it on a couple times where the girth was actually tight, so I want to make sure she's comfortable, but I also don't want the saddle to come off. And you saw a little bit with her with the surcingle where she was kind of pinning her ears. She was much better here with the saddle. She seems to be good with that, so that's good that it didn't like continue on from having the surcingle, and sometimes the surcingle can definitely be a little bit more uncomfortable for the horses just because they don't have that width of relief. So I'm just asking her to go the other way here, just have her push her hindquarters over and come around, and that looks really good. I probably could have clicked and fed her for turning around there. Now she's taking a bit more steps, and that also looks nice. I'm just trying to get my lead rope settled because I'd like to have control over. So that looks good. Like she's stepping forward with the saddle on and really doesn't seem to mind too much. Usually, you're going to see the most reaction with a horse walking with the saddle on for the first time, just immediately after you put the saddle on, or once you start asking for speed. So right now we're good as far as the immediately we put the saddle on. So I still have to be aware of me when asking for speed, and that might be the trot, and sometimes it's the trot, most of the time it's the canter, but yeah, gotta watch that. So I've got um my lead rope organized so I can ask her to move forward some more and just kind of work on just walking a little bit up and down the fence line here just to get her used to moving with that saddle on. This looks really good. I don't really have a whole lot that I'm upset about with this. This looks good.